Welcome back to the 40-day. I can't do it because you're doing it.
You said you weren't going to mess it up.
Okay, so.
You said, okay, you've got one more chance and then we'll take over.
3, 2. Stop looking at me. 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 40-day journey through thinking right so that we can live right.
What's the name of the book?
Take back your life.
This is my pleasure.
Yeah.
She said, I can do it. Actually, let me back. I said, do you want to do the intro tonight? She said, yeah. I said, okay, don't mess it up. She said, I won't. I got this. Now you see.
They didn't see what you were doing before, though.
Oh, they will. I get to do the editing.
Yeah, I don't sit over here and go to you.
That's why I said this is my personality.
Okay, today we are talking about changing the outcome. Day 19.
Day 19.
We're almost to midpoint.
Yeah.
So the verse for today was Matthew 17:20. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Those are powerful words.
I don't know if you've ever seen a mustard seed, but it's they're almost hard to see.
Yeah. And whenever we're thinking about that, we think about the contrast in between the size of the mustard seed and the size of the mountain. And you go, okay, so if I just have to do something that little bit, I can move this huge thing.
This is often one of the most misused verses in the entire Bible, by the way.
Yeah.
Because of that very thought right there, right?
Exactly. I like when Pastor talks about it towards the back of today's reading where he talks about sometimes the mountain that you need to move is the mountain inside of you, meaning that maybe you have unbelief on something changing and you just need to have a very small amount of faith and give it to God and trust that he's going to do something different with it to be able to move that mountain. And like we said, it's not a physical mountain. It is a mountain inside of you that you don't even realize is there probably.
Right. Pastor addressed that in the story today that he related with it. And it was another story from the Bible about the centurion that came to Jesus and had the slave, because he had a sick slave and wanted to have the slave healed. So when we learn that the centurion was a man of power, he had great status, he had many slaves, and he was not required in any way, shape, or form to take care of these slaves. Yet he took the time to go out of his way to find Jesus to get the slave healed. And we'll get to the healing in just a minute. But sort of what we're talking about right there is the fact that he had to change something within himself in order to get to the point to go to Jesus.
Yeah, and we talked about just some background things whenever we were meeting with the kids about it, and they were the ones that caught on to it right away. The centurion was a Gentile, and so he should have never even thought about going to Jesus in that day and time. And he went to him on behalf of his servant, and just like he says in the reading, he didn't have to do anything. He could have bought another servant, but he treated the servant as if it was his child, if it was his son. So that speaks to the character of the centurion as well. Not only is he a great man of power, but he's a great man of compassion. And he more than likely is not mistreating any of his people that are in his charge. And that is a big deal for that time. People were slaves and they were treated as property. They were not shown kindness. And so I think you have to start with the understanding that those are the things that were in his heart, just like we've talked about the last few days, that the things that are in your heart are going to come out of your mouth. And so his heart was truly being shown by the way that he acted. And then whenever he approached Jesus and he said to Jesus, just speak and he'll be healed. That my people follow my command, surely he'll be healed. And that faith didn't just move Jesus, it healed that servant, and it showed that the centurion understood the Jewish traditions and the Jewish law. That if
And he had faith in the power of who Jesus said he was.
And that if Jesus were to go with him, that it would cause Jesus to have additional time on task, or it would cause him to
ceremonially unclean. He would have had to go through the cleansing ritual,
Yeah.
which depended upon, when he went in the house and all that kind of stuff. It could have been several days.
And so he knew that his time was important, and he honored that by speaking out his faith.
It's an interesting thing, and we don't really know what was wrong with the servant. I think it's intentional that we don't know what was wrong with the servant. We just know that the servant was sick. And when we talk about faith as a mustard seed, the servant could have had a bad cold. The servant could have been literally laying on their deathbed. We don't know. But the centurion had to have the fortitude and the desire to take even the first step to go towards Jesus. And that's really sort of where we find ourselves whenever we're trying to figure out this verse. If you have the faith of the mustard seed, this mountain can move from here to there. The centurion believed with all that he was that if he got to Jesus, Jesus could fix this situation. And so because of that, he took the chance and went with genuine faith, not just a, hey, I just want you to do this for me. There was a faith that he knew who Jesus was and what Jesus could do, and it was demonstrated by the fact that he said, you don't have to come to my house. You can just speak, and my servant will be healed. And I think at that moment, that's when his faith moved the heart of God. Mm-hmm. And so we've used that statement a lot around our house about moving the heart or changing the heart of God. Some people feel that that's an uncomfortable way to put things.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, God's immovable. But I believe that God certainly listens to his children. There's not a parent alive that can't have times when their heart is moved by what their children say. So the centurion exercised the faith, and Jesus was moved by it and did a miracle that we had never seen to this point in the Bible.
Yeah. Now bringing it into where we're at in the 21st century. Have you had moments where you got to witness great faith?
Oh, I think we've seen great faith. I got to witness great faith whenever you and I were close to getting divorced.
Yeah.
I watched you believe that God had something better for this family than what we were headed towards. So in that particular case, I saw great faith in you.
Yeah.
We're seeing great faith, I think, right now through Jaden.
Yeah.
She's taken a huge step, and she's 2,000 miles from home in a place where she didn't know anybody and didn't have a place to live, and still doesn't really have a place to live. She's in a host home, which they're being amazing, and she's living out the faith. She believed that God called her to this place, and so even though it's been a struggle, even though it's been scary, even though she's had to fix her truck twice,
Yeah.
with FaceTime help, she's doing it, and I couldn't be more proud and excited for her.
I think that's a perfect example too of being uncomfortable, being okay to be out and uncomfortable, because the last time that she had to fix it, it took about an hour, and we were here in Oklahoma, and it was maybe 55, 60 degrees. And where she was, it was 26 degrees, and her toes were frozen, and she was having to struggle through to finish it.
Yeah.
And it's things like that that often can dissuade us from what it is God is calling us to do. Mm-hmm. And so being able to speak into somebody else's faith is amazing too, saying, that you're supposed to be here. This is just a temporary trial. This is light and momentary.
Right. And so we often can be moved to give up. Uh-huh. We often can say, it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. God didn't hear me. My faith wasn't strong enough. Get that all the time. That's not always the case. God's not a genie. I mean, that's not the point. The point of this is not to just rub the genie bottle and go, poof, here's what you wanted. God knows what we need, and in order for us to get what we think we want, we first need to have what we need.
Amen.
So what was his other thing? He had, what was it? Excitement, expectancy, and excitement change everything. How did that strike you?
That absolutely is where I sit most of the time. And I have to, just continue to be who I am whenever there's other people that can see it and go, oh, you're just Pollyanna, everything's not roses and sunshine. But I sit in expectancy, and I am able, because of that sitting in expectancy, I'm able to see, okay, God's working that out. He's doing this. I'm able to look back at the different things that he's sewing together. I think that is the part where the expectancy and excitement comes in.
It's a very uncomfortable thing to live in expectancy and excitement whenever you're not used to it. So for me, I'm not the exciting and expectant person in this house. It's just been part of my story. Now, I'm not going to say that that's who I am, because I don't believe that that's who I am. I believe that's been part of my story. As I learn to become more expectant and excited about the things in the future, I think that it begins to change things. Things that I want to see happen, things that I'm excited to see happen, things that I expect to happen, become things that I work harder for, right?
Absolutely. I think that I've seen more expectancy and excitement with you, with our blended family e-group, that you are getting more energy and more encouragement every single week. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's where your expectancy and excitement, I see it growing.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you are involved in a church and you're not involved in a small group within that church, or a small group within your community of people that are like-minded that you can do life with, I would certainly challenge you to do that, because you get more fulfillment, you get a little bit more insight into others when you do life together. So find you a small group.
Absolutely.
One of the things, going back to the story about Jaden, one of the things that we've tried to encourage her about is the fact that she refuses to be excited about things.
Yeah.
And you can see it stifle her at times. Now, she may have a completely different take on this, and Jaden, if you're watching this, I'm not trying to be mean, and you're welcome to post a rebuttal if you'd like. But I think that she's beginning to understand that it's okay to be excited, and it's okay to have expectations, because it forces you to strive for them. It forces you to work out the fact that if you want to be excited and you have an expectation that something's going to happen, then you got to work for it. And so I think she's learning that, and I think that she's finding out that it's actually a lot more fun than it is hurtful. So it's crazy to think about how much of a difference your attitude can make. So,
yeah. If you're excited, you're expectant, you're positive, you're looking for God's face in things, God's hand in things, it will change everything.
Hopefully changing the outcome is the main goal of what we're started in this book. One thing that I like about today's reading, the questions at the end, the very last question actually asks you to sit down with the Bible and write out, again, some specifics about different situations, things that you're thinking about, things that are coming up in your life, and things that you have been through in your past. Write those down. But the point is it wants you to do it with the Word, to find some verses so that you can keep the Word flowing through your mind, through your thoughts. Tomorrow we'll be back with day 20, the halfway point.
Halfway point.
Halfway through the book, and it's only been 20 days.
We're going to take back the controls.
Taking back the controls on day 20. Yeah. And it's exciting. I mean, you got to look at it from this point. It's downhill all the way to the end of the book. So we've made it through the hard part, and now we can start seeing the pages on the back of the book get smaller and the pages in the front get bigger. So
yep,
that's always been a thing for me. I don't know why it is, but yeah, I always notice when I cross that halfway point, I know that I'm on my way home. Anyway, just a little side note for you.
I'm just shaking my head because I listen to Audible books. So.
Yeah, she don't know. So, anyway, all right, everybody. I hope that you are having a great time learning about how to take back your life during these few days, few weeks that we spend together. Make sure that you're doing the questions. Get out your Bible, sit down, and write down that last set of questions for today. Tomorrow, I feel like I had a stroke just then. Tomorrow we'll be back with day 20, like we said. We're excited about it. Make sure that if you like these videos, you subscribe to the channel. It's not always videos like this, but we are in the middle of this series, and once we get done with this, we'll be getting back to doing a little bit more regular content. And so
we'll be getting back to doing a little bit more regular content here in a couple of weeks because
we're going to be doing family time.
Yeah.
So anyway, make sure you ding that bell. I'm going to say tickle the bell just for the fun of it. Make sure you tickle the bell and smash that like button if you like these videos. Share with your friends. See, she just falls apart. Oh, wait a minute. Why am I doing the outro? You did the intro. Wrap this thing up. I'm going to sit back and watch.
Subscribe, tickle the bell, all the stuff. See you tomorrow.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.